Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll give it one moment just to allow for the rest of our participants to join, and then we'll get started. All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Bobby Lynn Kekic, and I'm the Executive Director for Orientation and Student Onboarding. I want to thank you for joining us today for our International Student Community Meeting, where we will talk a little bit about what this new student journey is and all of the resources and opportunities that you have, specifically with our Center for International Students and Scholars. We have a short presentation and then we will open it up to questions, but you are welcome to submit questions using the Q&A button on your screen throughout the presentation. Please note we are recording this session, so you'll be able to go back to it at a later date on our Bentley Orientation YouTube channel. And if you are viewing this as a recording, please feel free to reach out with any questions via email or through our new Falcon question form. I'm going to share a little bit of information about our new Falcon experience. Then I will invite my colleagues to introduce themselves and speak to all the offerings from our Center for International Students and Scholars. And then we will open it up to that question. So the new Falcon experience really serves as our comprehensive onboarding process here at Bentley for all of our undergraduate new students. And this slide may not look so new to folks because we have presented this in a few other areas, but we do like to just continue to remind everyone that for the new Falcon experience, we really ground this work in preparation, support, and connection. So there are some tasks that our students will need to complete. There's some foundational resources that you'll have access to, your Bentley Beginnings online orientation experience with which family members can create a guest account to review as well. And then we also have our academic orientation and course registration. We would love for you to do this with lots of support. We know this is new for everyone. And so we have varying levels of support. We have some resources that you can navigate on your own, like our quick guide and our new Falcon Experience website. We then have weekly newsletters that we will launch to both students and families called the New Falcon News. This provides additional resources and different highlights about the opportunities that you have to really help support you along this process. And then, as I mentioned previously, if you are looking for a little bit more interaction engagement as you are navigating some of these questions, you can always reach out to us using our new Falcon question form, and then we help to make sure to get you connected with the appropriate office. We know that joining any new community, it's going to be important to have opportunities for connection. And while you're not physically on campus yet, we want to make sure that you can start meeting your fellow Falcons and connecting with different resources at Bentley. So something like this session today, our community meeting, or even some of our social programs through our nest working opportunities. You have access to, as new students, our campus groups platform, which is our engagement hub. You will use this through the new Falcon experience, but then you'll continue using that platform to be able to join clubs, organizations, or go to different events. The last piece that I really like to highlight is if you are on Instagram or TikTok, we highly encourage you to follow us at Welcome Falcons. It allows you to have different inside scoops to what it is to being a Bentley Falcon, different reminders, and ways for us to help to promote different offices, especially during sessions like our Baby Falc Fridays. And then the really pinnacle piece of our new Falcon experience is our orientation program. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in just a moment. But it is important to note that this program is on campus and it does allow for our students and families to get connected with all things Bentley if you are able to join us as family members. But for students, you will definitely be a part of this as you get started here at Bentley. Two other quick notes before I turn it over to my colleagues in CISS. There are deadlines that are approaching. So we have some tasks that are due this week, and then we have some tasks that are due next week. After that, there'll be a little bit of a pause before some of those other tasks are due. But just want to really make sure that if you have not set up your Bentley email, which there's only a handful of folks who haven't done that yet, but if you haven't done that, please make sure that you're doing that as soon as possible. There are some really important tasks that are due this week, like our critical reading and writing essay, our math placement process, and for those who are looking to live on campus, our housing and meal plan agreement and application. And the next piece I want to draw your attention to is our immunization and health records. So those are technically due on June 15th, but we understand that access to immunizations look different for everyone across the globe. And so please note that if there is a required immunization that you do not have access to, we will have an immunization clinic on campus once you arrive for orientation. And our families, for any parent, family, supporter, guardian who is joining us today. This is not just about our students. We want to make sure that you are feeling connected because we know that you've been with your students much longer than they've been a part of this Bentley community. And so we really like to help keep you informed. Now, we do understand that obviously this is the students' experience and we want them to be the ones taking the lead with paperwork and deadlines and processes, but we want to help make sure that you have resources and information in the event that your student is coming to you with questions. So in addition to our community meetings, we also have a Falcon live chat series, which is similar to this with webinar-based orientation sessions that are held throughout the summer and the first year. And we do post those recordings to YouTube. We also have some on-demand videos if you're curious about some of the resources that exist at Bentley. And then if you're able to travel with your student to campus, we will have different receptions and sessions specifically for our international families and then for our domestic families starting on the 27th. We also have a monthly family newsletter called the Bentley Brief, which will be starting this month. And this is a newsletter that you will continue to have access to throughout your students' time here at Bentley. It gives some high-level information, invitation for events, and opportunities for learning. And then the last piece that I want to highlight is that we will have a virtual workshop for families in September. So whether you're able to join your student or not, this will give you access to our Vice President for Student Affairs, a panel for our upper class students, access to our undergraduate academic advising team, and then an ability to learn about some of the additional support resources that will exist for your student. So that is a very high level of some of these opportunities as your student is experiencing these next few weeks and months. But now I want to turn it over to my colleagues in the Center for International Students and Scholars to talk a little bit more about the different resources and processes that are coming up over these next few weeks and months.
You so much, Bobby Lynn. If you want to pop over to the next slide. So my name is Susanna Marcucci. I am the director for the Center for International Students and Scholars, and I'll let my colleague introduce himself.
Hi, my name is Nathan Cruz. I'm the Assistant Director for CISS.
We also have Sam Bohr and Karen Zufante Papone, who are Senior International Student and Scholar Advisors. So we have a team of four to support you throughout your journey as an international student. And so we are really a student-centered team that focuses on highlighting the importance that international students and scholars hold at Bentley University. And so we are really focused on empowering students and scholars to pursue academic, social, and professional success. And we do that through immigration advising and compliance advocacy for our international community, promoting cultural exchange and lots of cultural programming. And so some of the offerings that we provide are visa guidance, immigration advice, travel guidance. We also do a lot of work around employment authorization advising, which is a big topic for international students. They want to know how you might be able to work in the United States. We provide cultural and social adjustment support, and we are very connected to all of the resources on campus. So we like to say we're a one-stop shop. So if you have any question about any type of topic, whether it's academic, social, it doesn't matter. You can come chat with us and we will connect you to the right people on campus to get your questions answered and your needs met. And so here are some quick statistics about the international students on campus. So about 14% of our student population at the graduate and undergraduate level is international. So that's a good chunk of folks. Bentley is a pretty diverse place to be. And so we have over 600 undergraduate international students, about 100 graduate students. And then we continue to support international students after they graduate if they're working in the US on post-completion work authorization. And one of the things I really, really love about working at Bentley is how many different countries are represented. So more than 100 different countries on campus. So it's a very diverse population. And our top 5 countries are China, India, Brazil, Spain, and Vietnam. But as you can see, those percentages aren't super, super high. So there's not a huge group of students from any one individual country, which really makes it fun and exciting to meet folks from all over the world. Some of the, and then Nathan, were you doing this slide?
So, yes.
Sorry.
So, events we do throughout the year. The first and foremost one is immigration workshops. Sorry. We will discuss the ins and outs of your F1 status. Most of you will be on an F1 visa, and we will talk about how you get to work using the F1 visa, both while studying and after studying. And sometimes we will have events with outside attorneys coming in to talk about other visa statuses for your long-term considerations in the United States. One of our most fun events of the year is International Education Week. This is in November, and it is a week-long celebration of food, music, and presentations all around campus, showing just how international Bentley can be. Then the final program thing I want to mention is a worldview program, which I actually personally manage. These are student volunteers who serve as ambassadors for their country on campus. They go to classrooms and different organizations in the Bentley community to give a perspective of their country on the subject matter covered in that class. So it's a great way to practice public speaking. It's a great way to think critically and apply the subject matters covered in classes and show how they're applied to real life in your home countries. And it's a great way to get out there and meet more people in the Bentley community. So can't recommend it enough. So we're going to quickly go over some of the rules for F1 study here. If you want more information, we have plenty of writing on our website, but the biggest things to note for your time coming to Bentley, if you are on an F1 visa, is this is for in-person study. So the way we define that is you are enrolled in a minimum of 12 credits or 4 classes, and 3 out of 4 of those classes must be in person. There is no option to study remotely from Florida or anything like that. When you are on the F1 visa, you are expected to be at Bentley and living either on campus or within an easily commutable distance. Next big thing for F1, there's no off-campus employment without prior authorization. Generally, students become eligible after one academic year to apply for something called Curricular Practical Training, or CPT. This is not just open employment. This is employment specific to your field of study that you are earning credit for as an internship. So there's a lot of strings attached and regulations around employment, and those are the biggest workshops we do every year, explaining all of those rules. But you can get a glimpse of some of those rules on our website uh, at this early stage. The first thing you'll do with us when you arrive is complete an immigration registration process upon arrival in the United States. The US government requires that we confirm that every student arrived safe and sound. So that's exactly what you'll do. You'll fill in the registration, you will upload a copy of your I-94, which notes your entry stamp to the United States. It's an electronic entry stamp, and confirm that you're enrolled in classes. And then during your time with us, we'll ask you to notify us if you ever change your address or personal information in the United States. Now we can go to the next one. Yep. So I'm sure many of you are in the process right now of working on obtaining an F1 visa. So it's a multi-step process. It can be a little overwhelming to look at it all at once, but we'll try break it down for you right now. So first and foremost, you're going to submit documents such as your passport and financial information to Bentley Admissions. Bentley Admissions is using the CISS portal. After you deposited, you should have received an email at your Bentley email address inviting you onto the CISS portal. In there, you upload your passport. If you have prior U.S. immigration history, we ask that you provide that information as well. And then financial documents proving your ability to cover tuition and living expenses for your first year at Bentley. After you submit those documents, we will review them, make sure everything looks in order, and issue you a form called an I-20. Now, once you have the I-20, you can schedule your visa interview. Hopefully, the visa interview goes great. You get your visa and you can enter the United States up to 30 days before your Form I-20 start date. So, hopefully then, after you've arrived, you'll be joining us for our International Student Orientation. So the International Student Orientation is a couple days before general orientation. This is so we can meet with you to further go over the specific rules unique to F1 students. Make sure that you are informed and prepared for the next 4 years in F1 status. Day one is just move in. There will be orientation leaders around to help with move in. We'll have a bus to bring people to Target, department store to pick up any last minute items that they didn't pack. And then we'll have a welcome reception just to welcome all of you to campus. The next day after breakfast, we will have another session where we go over in more detail the rules for your F1 visa. You'll hear and meet some other international students who have been here at Bentley already, give you the ropes of the area, and then a social event where you'll meet your peer mentors. This is a new program we started last year where we connect every international student with an older international student to try give them a confidant, somebody that they can go to easily for any questions they have, and someone who knows what it's like to be going through this unique experience. Day 3, we'll have more icebreakers and story circles, which is a process to better get to know your fellow international students. We'll discuss academic success and classroom culture in the United States and at Bentley specifically. There will be a vendor fair where there will be banks that can help you open a bank account in the United States, phone companies to compare different phone plans for yourself, and an immunization clinic for anybody with any uh, remaining required vaccinations they need to obtain. So, as I mentioned earlier, the Peer Mentor Program is something we're really excited to help our students with moving forward. It's a great way for you to connect with people. We try to match based on coming from similar regions, if possible, same country even, similar interests, similar prospective majors, just so when you're coming onto campus and classes start, you don't feel like you don't know anybody. You have some names and faces that you know and can turn to try and make the transition a little easier.
Wonderful. Well, thank you both so much for sharing this robust information. What we want to do now is open it up for any questions that folks may have. And then if you have a question that comes up after this session, we did want to make sure that we could highlight some of this information here. This is the website for, excuse me, the email for our orientation and student onboarding team. And Susanna or Nathan, would you like to talk a little bit more about some of these pieces with CISS?
Sure. So, 3 days a week, we have Zoom advising. Just come on, no appointment needed. Just on our website, you can find the Zoom link. And if you email us, we can all send you the Zoom link as well. Our email is ga_CISS@bentley.edu. And yeah, Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, we have Zoom advising. Just come on, ask whatever questions you may have.
Wonderful. Well, now I want to open it up for any questions that folks may have that you'd like to ask live.
Okay, I think I see one here. Is there a limited amount of hours that an F1 student is able to work on or off campus, and what job opportunities are there on campus? That is a great question. So, international students can work up to 20 hours per week on campus. There's no special authorization required for an on-campus job. But you do need to get a social security number. We will help walk you through that process. You don't need to do that until you have a job offer. I will say on-campus jobs are limited. It could take some time to find one. And I may even recommend not trying to get a job in your first semester, just to really spend some time acclimating to classes, getting to know the area, getting to know Bentley, and then starting your search. I will say with persistence, students do find those on-campus jobs. CISS hires about 5 students, usually international students, who work in our office as office assistants, welcoming students as they come in, answering sort of basic questions. And I would say most administrative offices do hire students, so there are lots of on-campus opportunities. It just can take time to find the right fit. Off-campus employment is not permitted for international students without special authorization, and that's typically not available until after the first year of study. So not something you need to worry about right now. You may be familiar with CPT, OPT, those terminology, but we offer workshops and we'll get into all of those details in orientation and then in workshops throughout the academic year.
I can take this next one. So, for the family information section on the second day of International Student Orientation, we're actually going to separate you into two different rooms. So, in one room, the student is going to be with their fellow students, learning about the rules for F1 status. And in another room, for parents who would like to attend, obviously not mandatory, but for any parents interested, we will have representatives from university police and wellness on campus to give parents a bit more insight into what it's like for their child to be living on campus, learn about safety on campus and in the Waltham area, and their students' general welfare.
And an email did go out to parents and guardians inviting them to the family orientation. So that registration link is open, as well as international student orientation for students. So make sure you register so we know you're coming. So a great time to connect with families will be at that opening reception. So you can attend that welcome reception and meet other families.
And I don't know, BL, are you able to speak at all about parking and cars for
Yeah.
students?
I am happy to do that. So, for any first year student who, and I'm going to post in the Q&A the link to our parking website. For any first year student who is looking to have a car on campus, you would need to apply for an accommodation for that, which you can do through the link that I just put into the Q&A box. If you also just search parking on the Bentley website, that will bring you up there. There is a form that the student will fill out, and then they can have the university police and parking team review that and then get back to your student about that. But we definitely do have some students that will request that. I will also say, depending on what students are looking to get access to, we do have a pretty robust transportation system here at Bentley that will take students into the local community to access different items as needed or to explore. And then also another shuttle that will take students into Cambridge, which then gives them access to our train system, bus system, etc. So definitely some different ways to access the local community and extended community if your student doesn't have a car on campus. Right. I see our questions slowing. Susanna or Nathan, are there any other last words of wisdom or notes that you want to make sure folks are aware of before we sign off?
I can jump in just if you do not have your Form I-20 yet, please take care of that as quickly as possible. It's very busy at the U.S. consulates, and we're seeing some delays with F1 visas because of the World Cup happening over the next couple of weeks. So tourist visas are being expedited right now to get all the soccer fans, football fans here to the U.S. Over the next couple of weeks. If you can't find an appointment, don't panic. Just get in touch with us if you need assistance. And even if it's an appointment later in the summer or in the early fall, you can book that appointment and then make a request for an expedited appointment because of school starting. So really important to stay ahead of the visa process. And Nathan and I and our team are available by email or Zoom advising hours if any questions or issues come up, but really encourage you to get that done. That is the priority.
Wonderful. Well, I think there's been a consistent message of please reach out with any questions that you may have. We want to make sure that we can help make this process as smooth as possible, but we do know that there's a lot of steps to take along the way. So please try to stay as proactive as possible. We know that folks are also finishing up classes or school, are at different points in their life. So we know that there's many competing priorities, but really making sure that we can successfully get you here to Bentley is a top priority for us. So thank you so much for joining us today. We look forward to seeing you at future events and eventually on campus for orientation. So thank you all so much and take care.